The fact that it's still cities and states like this that have the sundown is amazing. Ain't like the government don't know about this. Like, my whole question is for the people that live in these cities or these sundown states or whatever, what is your big problem with black people?
These sundown cities are real.
Look at this map. Look at that. That's all the possible sundown towns. The dark red is like a for real sundown town.
You need to make yourself aware of what a sundown town is.
Sundown towns are towns that are majority white. They didn't start off that way, let's be clear. But black and brown people are not safe, not wanted, and not seen in sundown towns.
Sundown Towns is a place where they kill black people every time that the sun goes down. No blacks allowed, so when it hits 8 p.m., you better be nowhere around.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm making a video about sundown towns. I need to make sure I ain't in no sundown town right now.
A quintessential American town, peaceful, prosperous, a beacon of community and belonging. But for generations of black Americans, towns like these held a dark secret, a promise of exclusion enforced by fear. They were called sundown towns, places where, once the sun dipped below the horizon, it was understood, sometimes explicitly, often implicitly, that black people were not welcome. They could work there, shop there, pass through, but they could not stay. If caught after dark, the consequences could be grave. Today, we journey into the heart of America's forgotten past and confront the truths of its present. Carol Jenkins was born to Elizabeth Jenkins in Franklin, Indiana in 1947. Her mother divorced her father when Carol was still an infant. Elizabeth later married Paul Davis, a local factory worker in nearby Rushville. Paul raised Carol as his own, while he and Elizabeth went on to have 5 more children, all of whom looked up to Carol as their big sister. As a teenager, Carol wanted to move to Chicago and become a model. In 1965, shortly after graduating from Rushville High School, she got a job at the plant of the Philco division of the Ford Motor Company. Carol worked there until a union strike temporarily shut the plant down. She took a job as a door-to-door saleswoman selling encyclopedias for colliers. In September 1968, 20-year-old Carol, dressed in a white cotton turtleneck, a pair of olive green wool pants, a brown jacket, and a bright yellow scarf, and embarked on her first day selling encyclopedias door to door. To impress her boss, she volunteered to go to Martinsville, Indiana. Martinsville was known to be a sundown town, yet Carol thought she would be safe that evening as she was traveling there with 3 co-workers, 2 white men, and a 19-year-old black woman. While on her route, 2 white men in a car began following her, catcalling at her and hurling racist slurs. She approached the home of a young white married couple, Don and Norma Neal, seeking help, asking them, "Please let me in. I've got somebody following me." The Neals called police out to their residence. The police reported that they tracked down 2 locals who admitted following her, but nothing else. Norma Neal walked several blocks with Carol, looking for her co-workers. When they could not find them, Neal offered to let Carol stay at their residence. Carol turned down the offer, saying that she did not want to trouble them further. Around 8:30 p.m., Carol then walked off, heading to the predetermined rendezvous point where she was supposed to meet her co-workers to head back to Rushville. Approximately 15 to 30 minutes later, 2 men got out of their car and chased her down. Her arms were held back from behind by 1 man, while the other man stabbed her in the heart with a screwdriver. The men left her in the street where, bleeding out from her wound, she died. Carol's father insisted that, due to the racist past of Martinsville, the police bring in the FBI to help investigate, but the police refused. Davis later said, "I felt that because she was a black girl, nobody did anything." In June 2000, Carol's mother, Elizabeth, received an anonymous phone call from someone revealing the name of the killer. Elizabeth told Paul, who dipped into his retirement savings to hire a private investigator to look into it. After the Indiana State Police got wind of Paul's effort, they assigned 2 cold case investigators to look back into the murder. In November 2001, the investigators received an anonymous letter naming the killer, Kenneth Clay Richmond. The letter also said that Richmond's daughter, Shirley, had witnessed the murder. For more than 33 years, the murder of Jenkins remained unsolved.
I told him, I said, "I remember you hurting that lady. I remember being there and seeing you do that." And I go, "Why'd you have me with you?"
For the first time, you are hearing the voice of Shirley McQueen, the woman who helped solve one of Indiana's most notorious murder mysteries.
I remember watching her fall, and I talked about him giving me that $7 and telling me to keep a secret.
These are excerpts of a taped interview McQueen did for a new book coming out on Friday. 10 years ago this month, McQueen and her $7 secret led to the arrest of her own father, Kenneth Richmond, for the 1968 racial killing of Carol Jenkins in Martinsville, Indiana. McQueen was just 7 years old when she witnessed the attack from the backseat of her father's car as he passed through town. For more than 3 decades, she lived with the nightmare before telling investigators what she knew and revealing to Carol's family those final hate-filled moments.
And I told her, I said, "You were 7 years old. You were not only terrified to see the girl falling, but you traumatized."
Now the story behind the state and national headlines comes to light in the new book written by the reporter McQueen called with a chilling message. If the girl was wearing a yellow scarf and was killed with a screwdriver, my father could be the killer. Up until that moment, no one ever knew Carol Jenkins was wearing a yellow scarf.
I didn't know she had one, and Shirley's the only one that ever knew it, because it was never in the papers or anything about her having a yellow scarf.
That detail, along with an anonymous letter written by Shirley's sister-in-law following my investigative reports into police missteps in the case, led cold case investigators to McQueen.
I just told him everything I remembered about her scarf, her yellow scarf and everything.
We are not showing Shirley McQueen's face because she wants to retain some privacy in wake of the turmoil she still lives with 10 years after turning her father in. Kenneth Richmond died in custody before he went to trial and without naming his accomplice. But state police say he admitted to the crime. Richmond's attorney, Steve Litz, denies that claim, and police don't have his confession on tape.
Shortly before Mr. Richmond's death, he acknowledged his involvement in the death of Carol Jenkins.
The detectives told us that he confessed. He didn't speak, but he shook his head yes. Said this guard asked him, did he do it? And he shook his head yes. Yeah, I believe it. I believe he.
Paul Davis spent 30 years of his life trying to track down his daughter's killer. He finds it ironic that the answer to the murder mystery was locked away in the memory of someone else's young daughter.
And for you to get in there and dig like you done, and you developed some kind of bond with Shirley for her to even want to talk to you the way she did about it. And that made me feel good.
Like Shirley, Carol's family is still healing.
God worked with me for all those years because I was a pretty angry man at first.
Forgiving, but never able to forget the cost of intolerance or the town trying to move beyond its past.
I feel like she's part of the civil rights movement, and she had to give her life to make some people realize that it's not about color. It's about what a person has in their heart.
Peru, Illinois, Population 10,392.9% white, 1.1% black. Where the Illinois River and a railroad stretched for miles across scenic Emerald Valley, the body of Jelani Day was found floating in the river, and questions surrounding his death still swirl like a cool autumn wind. In the nearby village of Ladd, Illinois, a debate over whether or not a creek's name should be changed from Negro Creek to Adams Creek was brewing. Adams was an African American who had settled near the waterway which empties into the Illinois River in the early 1800s. When village trustees were asked to support changing the name, the mayor, Frank Catani, and a trustee objected, with the mayor claiming some sort of historical naming of the creek. Catani did not respond to an email request from One News for comment.
It's been Creek since up to 1965. Then after that, they changed it from Creek to Negro Creek.
Jelani Day was a 25-year-old graduate student at Illinois State University, born in June 1996. In Danville, Illinois, he was the fourth of his parents' 5 children and the youngest of 3 sons. By all accounts, he was a good young man with a future as bright as his grandfather's white 2010 Chrysler 300 with its black cloth top and shining chrome wheels, a car found inauspiciously in Peru. A graduate of Alabama A&M University, Jelani enrolled in the fall at Illinois State with aspirations of becoming a doctor. His chosen major was speech pathology, as he sought to make good on a childhood promise born of his friendship and compassion for a little boy who was teased for a speech impediment. A member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Jelani was full of hope and vigor, and he was looking forward to the next leg of his academic journey, to life, and also to traveling with family to Destin, Florida for Thanksgiving. He had a million reasons to live. A wellness check was requested by several ISU faculty members on August 25th after Jelani failed to show up for meetings, clinicals, and classes for 2 days. He was also not responding to text messages. Police went to his mother's home in Danville to look for him. This prompted his mother to file a missing persons report the night of August 25th, when she could not get in touch with him. Thursday, August 26th, one day after Jelani had been reported missing, Jelani's four-door sedan had been found in a wooded area. It had no license plate and the keys were missing. Jelani's clothes he had on the day he went missing were also inside the car.
This is them. Jelani's car is outside. And this is where they've been keeping his car. It's not in a secure area. It's outside here under a tarp. It's been here now for 3 weeks because they said they didn't have enough room to store it in their evidence area. But I'm going to show you the evidence area. Nothing in his car is tagged. I'll get under there. That's them zipping it up. They've not done anything that even makes relevant sense for it to be done concerning my son. Everything in his car is out. I didn't come on here live when I did this. So everything in his car is out. The license plates and everything is off the back of his car. As you can see here, there's some red things. I don't know what this is at the bottom of his car. But this is where, if I hadn't came here today, I wouldn't have even known that his car was out here, because they claim they don't have room to store it. However, if you look straight ahead in that garage, which is empty, there is a secure area right there. That is a secure area where they are supposed to have Jelani's car at, and they said they don't have room to store anything. But I'm going to go back in here and show you just how much room they have to store everything. This is ridiculous, the way that they've treated everything concerning my child. Ridiculous. This is where they said they had no room to store Jelani's car. This is the secure area where Jelani's car should be at. But they moved his car out of here. His car has been out of here for 3 weeks. That's the secure area, and they told me the reason they moved it was because they didn't have room to store it. But as you see, there's nothing there. Nothing. And Jelani's car is over there. That's where Jelani's car is. And I got here, Jelani's car is outside. Everything is everywhere in Jelani's car. Everything. I'm so upset. They have not done anything correctly regarding my child. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. You look at this car. I'm gonna unzip this right quick. They didn't have the key. They had to shimmy his car because now the key doesn't work. The battery is dead for some reason, I don't know. But there's stuff all in Jelani's car. Nothing is tagged. Nothing is tagged. They didn't tag anything. They just got stuff all out everywhere. I don't even, no wonder we don't have any fingerprints. No wonder we don't have any fingerprints. No wonder we don't have anything, because they didn't do nothing right. This is what I'm dealing with. These two officers here were kind to help me today. They showed me everything and gave me some information. I'm dealing with a bunch of Barney Fight police officers. This is ridiculous.
9 days later, on Saturday, September 4th, at 9:47 a.m., searchers found a body floating in the Illinois River near the Illinois Route 251 bridge. Jelani Day was identified on September 23rd, 2021, by the LaSalle County Coroner's Office through forensic dental identification and DNA testing and comparison. Jelani's waterlogged body lay in the possession of the LaSalle County Coroner's Office for 24 days. Even after the authorities finally made positive identification, reportedly through dental records and DNA, Carmen Bolden Day, Jelani's mother, still had not been allowed to see the body that the authorities eventually said was her son. The body had no eyeballs, only sockets. The river's water had run her course, soaking the body through and through. The body was missing its front, top, and bottom teeth, Day, and her attorney Besner said, citing a second autopsy performed by a private forensic pathologist at the request of the family. His jawbone had been sawed out. The family's private forensic pathologist could find no brain, according to Day and her attorney, no organs, neither liver nor spleen. Besner said the LaSalle County coroner had explained that, according to their pathology report, The organs were completely liquefied. The body had suffered innumerable fish and turtle bites and was maggot infested, said Besner, citing information both she and Day said they received from the LaSalle County Coroner's Office. Besner said she continues to investigate, to seek plausible, perhaps scientific explanations for the severely decomposed state of Jelani's body while keeping an open mind, though no question rings more loudly than this one. What on earth happened to Jelani?
Jelani was nowhere near depressed. He's not a street thug. He engaged. I don't approve of my son smoking marijuana, but however, he smoked marijuana. And right now, marijuana is legal. So it's not like he was doing anything illegal. He went to a store and paid taxes on some marijuana. Doesn't make him a bad person. Doesn't make that he was doing anything wrong. He's strong physically and he's strong mentally. He wasn't depressed. He went to school at Alabama A&M, and while at Alabama A&M, he maintained a 3.3 GPA and higher every year. He was on collegiate 100 every year that he was in school. He also, while he was on collegiate, while he's in school studying his academics, he was active in other programs. He was online with his fraternity. And while he was online, his grades, he still maintained his GPA. Nobody on that campus that I'm aware of that has spoken to me or that has spoken to other people about my son has had anything negative to say about him.